Hey, I'm Callie. Thanks so much for watching this video. The teaching that you're about to hear is based on the Bible, and we believe that it's going to be helpful to you as you seek answers to tough questions about Jesus and religion. We'd love for you to text us if you need someone to talk to, or if you just want to have a deeper conversation about the questions that you're having. And again, thanks for watching. We're praying for you, and we hope that this video will be an encouragement to you on your spiritual journey.
God just wants you to be happy, or God just wants me to be happy. Let's talk about that phrase for just a moment, and I'll dissect that and look at it from kind of two different angles. But before I do, let me just ask a couple questions or make some statements, and you tell me true or not true, maybe out loud or in the quietness of your heart. It doesn't matter what you believe as long as you're happy. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you're happy. It doesn't matter what activities you engage in and whom you engage them with as long as you're happy. In fact, it doesn't even matter who you hurt as long as you're happy. It doesn't matter what you think, where you go, what you do as long as you're happy. It doesn't matter, fill in the blank. In fact, I want you to know it does matter. I think that's the crux of the issue when you hear the phrase, God just wants you to be happy, or God just wants me to be happy. In fact, I think at the face, there's a veneer of truth to that, but there's also the danger of phrases where there's a veneer of truth. That's where there's danger. We pervert those things. Is it true that God wants you to be happy? Yes and no. Yes and no. There's a lie that's involved in that goes back to the very first book of the Bible. The first book of the Bible is the book Genesis. And we read in the book of Genesis that there's this figure called the devil having a conversation with Eve. And the devil asked this question, did God really say? Did God really say? When the devil asked that question, he was opening up a world of possibilities, and one such possibility was that God might be wrong, Eve. God might have been mistaken. And so the reality is that Eve thought that this statement was true, and it represented satisfaction and appeal or enlightenment. It's not that it was totally wrong, because it wasn't totally wrong. There was a veneer of truth to it. It's that the devil and Eve had perverted things that God indeed said are right and good in terms of fulfillment and things that are beautiful and enlightenment and wisdom. I'm not so different from Eve, and you're not so different from Eve as well. We all struggle. We all have difficulties. In fact, the Bible tells us repeatedly in one such book of the Bible that there's a commonality in our struggle. There's a commonality in our temptation. There's a commonality in our difficulties. And as a result of me believing various lies in my life and what people might project and put forth in their life, we create my truth. We pursue our own truth. We prop up principles and ideas that are not only inconsistent with what God has said, but they bring heartache and destruction and worse, separation from God. We know, you know, intuitively that it does matter what you believe. It does matter what you do. It does matter what you think. It does matter what you feel. It does matter what activities you engage in. So let's look at this statement ever so quickly. God just wants you to be happy, or God just wants me to be happy. First, we regularly think if I only had fill in the blank, if I only had this, I'd finally be happy. Now, seasons of life and circumstances change whatever we put in the blank, but whatever is in the blank, what we love and hold dear and cherish and treasure, that's what we need and think and believe that if I had that, I would be happy. And consequently, if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be happy. And we focus on temporary things, things that are fleeting, and things or persons or achievements that are here one day or gone the next. And that's perhaps the most important truth of this episode that you're watching, whether it's in the morning or whether it's in the evening. If we lower our eyes, so to speak, or our perspective is lowered to find beauty and fulfillment and enlightenment in the here and now, then we're never going to see that true beauty, true fulfillment, true insight, wisdom, and enlightenment stands beyond us, outside of us, something that stands the test of time, despite a season of life, despite circumstances. We think about health and wealth and respect and comfort and conveniences and money and retirement and marriage and family possessions. And God has made you and created you. God has made me and created me with this capacity and desire for happiness. So why would God ever want me to suppress a desire that makes me happy? That's a great question. My wife and I have been married for 18 years. Not a long time. For some of you, you're not married. You're single. You're in a relationship. You have a partner. You're exploring things. You might be married. Maybe you're divorced. And I've been married 18 years. And I got married for a lot of reasons. And there's a lot of reasons God gave us marriage. One, friendship, companionship, sexual fulfillment. She's my wife. She's the mother of our kids. She makes me happy. But I've realized one of the purposes of marriage has been a tool to teach me about my heart's own ways. It's taught me about selfishness and how I don't like to be inconvenienced. And I like my comforts. And I can be fickle and I can be pretty self-centered at times. And so God gave me my wife, Lauren, and gave us not one, not two, not three, but 4 kids. And I'm so grateful for my marriage. I'm so grateful for my kids. But God has used marriage and parenting to expose a lot of things in my life because He wants my life to be yielded to Him. And so my marriage is not primarily about my happiness, but it's more about what we would say being set apart and being yielded to God in a deeper, more robust, faithful fashion as God uses marriage and parenting and relationships in your life and my life to expose things in our life. So is God concerned about my happiness? Yes and no, but my happiness is derived as I align my life with Him. So second thing I want to talk about ever so quickly about that phrase, God just wants me to be happy, is lives yielded to Him is what brings about happiness. But God is not disinterested in our happiness. So the statement, God doesn't care if you're happy, is equally wrong as well. It's not that God doesn't care or God is disinterested, right? Most people think of happiness and joy as virtually the same thing. Right? And in most instances, we think of happiness as this emotional response that's elicited in our lives by people, things, and experiences, right? I got a raise, I got a wife, I got a husband, I have a partner, I have a promotion, I got a child, I got a good health prognosis, I got affirmation, I got all these things, and then I have happiness. But there is really a tangible difference between happiness and joy. Joy is the settled disposition that happens in a person's life, your life and my life, when this man or woman, boy or girl, comes to a deep understanding of who they are, a deep understanding of who God is, and they realize that they are accepted and loved and cherished and treasured in and by Jesus. So joy comes from something else, from someone else, something that's not tied to our season of life, not tied to our circumstances, not tied to the fleeting, not tied to the temporary, but something that stands outside of us, that stands the test of time. And so this phrase, God just wants me to be happy, emphatically speaks to our greatest need, and our greatest desire, what we think wrongly, is to have our feelings and desires met. Therefore, what we need is stuff, experiences, things, achievements, affirmation to meet those desires, and then, and only then, we'll be happy. God just wants me to be happy, a veneer of truth. So fulfillment and enlightenment means I need stuff, achievements, but no, it's something deeper, something more profound. Jesus teaches us that our greatest need isn't unmet desires or feelings, but unrealized purpose or unrealized identity. Our biggest problem isn't unmet desires and feelings, but sin, and sin that is lodged deep down in our hearts. We have, you do, I do, we have an identity problem. We were created to know God, to find purpose and hope in Him. And so what we fundamentally need isn't a vacation, an experience, validation, but rescue, forgiveness, a new start, a relationship. And once we have that, which comes through faith and confidence and trust in the real person called Jesus, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of our feelings, regardless of our seasons of life, we can have something that runs deeper than circumstantial feelings. So does God just want me to be happy? No and yes. Yes, He wants you to be happy, but true, lasting, deep fulfillment and enlightenment and happiness comes as we believe and do things God's way and align our hearts and yield to Him. I hope that challenged you. I hope it encouraged you, as I say regularly, perhaps maybe a little thought-provoking. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to like this, subscribe to this, or share it if it perhaps has benefited you. And we look forward to walking through questions that we prop up in our life that we want to look at and dissect and really evaluate. Does God just want me to be happy? Well, yes and no. Look forward to seeing you again. Take care.
Thanks again for watching this teaching. We hope that God spoke to you today through this video and helped answer any questions that you may have had. Again, feel free to text us if you would like to talk more about what you heard, or if there's any way that we might be able to help you. You can also find more videos and more resources at gracelandchurch.online. And if you feel that you've been blessed by these videos, please consider donating so that we can continue sharing more content to more people. And remember to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more answers to tough questions. Thanks again for watching, and we hope you'll join us again soon.